Hey friends, please like and subscribe for more amazing stories. The day I found out I was pregnant was the best day of my life. My husband, Gerald, and I were trying for so long, and it finally happened for us. My sister was the first person I called to tell the great news. Hey sis, how are you? It finally happened! I just found out this morning that I'm pregnant. Can you believe it? I knew my sister would be excited for me. She was also trying to get pregnant, and we were both so worried we may not be able to have children. I figured that it would give her hope for herself, too. Oh, okay. Great. What's wrong? Aren't you excited for me? You're going to have a niece or nephew to love and spoil. I am excited, but I want a baby too, you know. You're my little sister, and you shouldn't be the one to have kids before me. Why does that matter? I was confused why she was so bothered. Of course, she had to be a little bit jealous, but her time to be a mom would come soon. I told Gerald about it, and he was pretty upset that my sister was acting so selfish.
I'm not sure you should be around her if she's going to act that way. We don't need you having any stress while you're pregnant.
She will get over it, I promise. I don't want her to miss out on spending time with me while I'm pregnant, or miss out on the baby growing. I need as much support as I can get. Gerald agreed, and a few weeks later, my sister came over to have lunch with me. To my surprise, she even showed up with a present for the baby. I'm really sorry about how I acted when you gave me the news. I was just jealous and handled it badly. I forgive you. I knew that you needed time to accept it, and I'm glad you're here to support me during the pregnancy. You know I'll do the same thing for you, right? My sister looked angry again as soon as I mentioned her having a baby. But I let it go and went to the kitchen to start making food for us. Out of nowhere, Casey attacked me from behind and kicked me to the ground. How dare you think I was actually okay with this? She kicked my lower stomach, and I instantly feared the worst. I tried to fight her off the best that I could, but she completely overpowered me. When I finally got back on my feet, I was in so much pain. I was able to call the police, but she was already gone. Gerald left work as soon as he heard I was injured and met me at the hospital.
What the hell happened?
I was attacked. The doctor said I lost the baby.
Who was it? How did a burglar break into the house? I made sure everything was safe.
It wasn't a stranger who attacked me, Gerald. It was my sister.
I knew something bad was going to happen if she stuck around. I'm going to hunt her down even if I have to do it alone.
Gerald stormed out of the hospital, and I was devastated over everything that happened. Nothing ever felt like it could be the same. The next morning, Gerald returned to the hospital to visit me, and the doctor told us we lost the baby. I had a miscarriage. We were devastated. Then Gerald told me that my sister was in police custody for what she did to me. A policeman interviewed me and got my side of the story. They instantly knew that my sister was guilty. She was trying to tell them that she never meant to hurt me and that I attacked her, but she had no wounds to show for it. The day had finally come for my sister's trial. The judge allowed me to testify and decide what happened to my sister, since I was the victim.
Are you ready to go to court? Do you know what you're going to say?
Yes, I've decided what I'm going to do. Casey is going to pay for what she did to us. Her life will never be the same. Beforehand, I talked to her lawyer, who was begging me to paint Casey in a good light so that she could get away with what she did.
She is your sister, and she made a mistake. Tell the court how good of a woman she truly is. She doesn't deserve to go to jail for the rest of her life just because of one mistake.
Her one mistake cost me my baby. And it's exactly like her to get jealous and mean. She wasn't very nice to me growing up either. I should have seen this coming.
She was hurting because you were pregnant and she wasn't. Any sensible woman would understand that. Show your sister some compassion so her life isn't ruined.
The lawyer couldn't convince me otherwise. My mind was made up, and my sister needed to pay for what she did. She was a bad person and didn't deserve to be free. When I took the stand, I explained to the court that my sister harmed me, and I'd never forgive her for the pain she caused. She was a bad person, and I could never trust her again. I believed that she planned to attack me all along, and the gift she brought over that day was just her pretending to care. The judge explained that my testimony sealed the deal for Casey. She would eventually be sentenced to jail for a very long time. You can't do this to me! You're a liar, and were never a sister to me! The court could see her explosive behavior for themselves. It was obvious her niceness was an act, and if she were to get out, she never would have truly changed her ways. After the trial, my sister was sentenced to 7 years in jail for attacking me, ending my pregnancy, and running from the police. I was relieved, but a small part of me still felt guilty about everything that happened between us.
I know it wasn't easy to testify against Casey, but you did the right thing. She will stay where she belongs.
I hate her so much. She gets whatever happens to her while she's in jail. About a year later, Gerald and I planned to get pregnant, and it happened right away. I couldn't believe it, and I was so grateful to be pregnant again. It reminded me of what my sister did to me, yet I was still moving on with my life for the better. Jealousy is one of the ugliest traits someone can have. You should always be supportive of others. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hey friends, please like and subscribe for more amazing stories. My name is Nano Nomaru, and this is the story of how my company's CEO hired his son, and he destroyed everything. I am 32 years old and have a comfortable life. I've worked as an office clerk for the same company for 10 years. I've always been a hard worker and respectful to everyone around me. I've also always loved my job. But my patience was put to the test when I met my new coworker. This year, the CEO of the company assigned a new employee for me to train. It was his son, Io Darashina. As soon as I found out, I was nervous and had a bad feeling about it.
Hello everyone, I'm Io Darashina. Who'll be in charge of training me? I want to tell that person beforehand that you won't have much work, as I'm overqualified for this job.
He had such a dramatic and overconfident introduction. I could tell that he was going to be very difficult to train. I'll be in charge of training you. Nice to meet you. My name is Nanonomaru. As soon as I started to talk to him, Ayo's eyes were all over the place. He wouldn't pay attention to anything I was telling him. It was obvious he didn't take the job, or me, very seriously.
I'm glad I have a trainer who's easy on the eyes.
I couldn't believe he was so disrespectful. He only decided to pay attention enough to hit on me. Excuse me?
Don't worry, there's a time for everything. What's the first lesson?
It was hard, but I didn't call him out on his horrible behavior. What could I do? He was the CEO's son. He would continue using that to his advantage. The longer I worked with Ayo, I could tell he was going to make my life a living hell. He didn't take the job seriously or attempt to learn the policies. When he spoke to me, he was flirtatious or mocking. It would be impossible to turn him into a good employee. The longer he worked at the company, the more he showed his true intentions and lack of knowledge. He didn't care about working there. Instead, he wanted to humiliate employees and cause problems for the company. He promised to attend meetings, then never showed up. He even deleted important computer files and blamed it on someone else. Everything he touched, he ruined. Hi, Ayo. Did you do the work I gave you yesterday afternoon? I told you it was due today.
No, of course not. I have way more important things to do.
I was trying so hard not to lose my patience with him, but that answer was the final straw for me. The most important thing is to do your job, and you haven't done it for even a minute since you came to work here. I think you've been taking advantage of all of us by being the CEO's son. He deserved to hear much worse and a louder tone, but I would be the one who faced the consequences, so I held back. Ayo looked offended that I'd yelled at him, and I knew he would come up with a plan to punish me for it. Right after, I heard him on the phone talking to his dad and telling him lies about me.
I cannot understand why you chose this person to train me, Dad. She is horrible and even called me a useless rat. That's why I had to call you. I can't take this abuse anymore.
I was shocked to hear what he was saying, but even more shocked to know that the CEO believed him. I was a fantastic employee and never had issues training new employees. Nobody treated his son poorly. I thought he would know my good history and defend me. But he believed his son, and I would be the one to pay the price for Ayo's attitude and lies.
This is unbelievable, Nano. Let this be the last time you address any member of the company that way. It's not about him being my son. You have to perform Ayo's job today as punishment.
Sir, I'm so sorry, but I never said that at any time. You can...
Now you're saying my son is a liar? You better keep quiet unless you'd like to lose your job altogether.
There was no point in me trying anymore. The months went by, and I did nothing but work hard and stay quiet. Ayo still got to do whatever he wanted. It was like I worked for him now. Some of my other co-workers began to quit, and others had no motivation to work hard anymore. Ayo was slowly taking over and ruining the way our company worked together. But nobody could say a thing because he held all of the power. I even got more worried when Ayo began texting me outside of work. I feared his harassment would start to control all of my life. But rejecting him would lead to even more punishments for me. Luckily, to my surprise, I received a very important phone call that could save me.
Nano, we haven't talked in so long. I wanted to know how you've been and how things are going at the company.
Mr. Shugyuo was 5 years older than me, and he was my trainer when I started working for the company. He was the perfect person I could talk to about everything that had happened. He was a good man, and I believed he would help me fix everything. So I began to tell him how horrible the CEO's son was, and that nobody believed the workers anymore. It has been terrible, Mr. Shugyuo. I really don't know if I can bear all this anymore. They are so manipulative.
Nano, I've never heard you like this before. I'm going to help you with this. I'm worried.
And so he did. Mr. Shugyuo was brilliant, so it didn't take him too long to discover that Ayo's entry into the company was a fraud. He had no qualifications to hold his position, and the CEO had made secret deals to get his son the job. Mr. Shugyuo asked me to help him by collecting signatures to prove the harassment and labor abuse we all suffered in the company. All of the current and past employees worked with me to testify and show proof of everything Ayo had ruined while he worked there. It was undeniable with everyone who spoke up against him. The process took a while, but eventually, Mr. Shugyuo was able to forge a powerful legal weapon to remove Ayo and Darashina from the company.
Not only have you made illegal moves to get your son into the company to ruin it, but your very position is a fraud. Watch your words, Sugo. You no longer work here. What is your evidence?
Mr. Shugyuo replied with a smile and brought in Darashina CEO's former secretary. She was a frustrated young girl who had also suffered the abuse of those two and the harassment of Ayo. Fraud of all kinds came to light and led to the embarrassing but satisfactory departure of the father and son. After a few weeks, Mr. Shugyuo had already left, and the majority shareholders were discussing who should take the reins of the company. To my surprise, they approached me with an offer for the CEO position of the company. The job had been so horrible that it was hard to believe everything was going to finally improve, and I would love my job again. I happily accepted the position, and many of the old employees returned to work under me. The company would finally see success again. Thank you for watching! Please like and subscribe.